This is how to run a college gaming club.
Oh yeah, no.
You're in the right place. If you're looking for the freight handling somewhere. I guess I'm going to start off by introducing everyone. We are the gamers of Kutztown University. Kutztown is how far away?
About an hour.
About an hour away from here. We are the largest club on our campus. We boast probably 150 registered members and probably 75 regular members. It didn't start that way, and for any of you who are either in college, about to be in college, looking to get involved in your community and start it up, we're here to help. I am Justin. This is Kayla. Okay, yeah, that's right. All right, take it back. I'm Justin. I was a member, and then I was equipment manager, and then I was vice president, and then I was president, and then I passed the torch on to that lovely man over there. I've been involved with my club for about 4 years now. This is Kayla. She was our treasurer for a long ass time.
I was historian, then I was treasurer, and I've been on e-board for 3.5 years. I just graduated.
And then this is Connor. He's our fresh blood.
I was a member, and then I was equipment manager, vice president, and I'll be president for the next semester, and hopefully more.
We're gonna run you through about everything we could possibly come up with to help make your college gaming community awesome. So, first things first, we're gonna start with how to even start a club. Because I know for some people, maybe your college doesn't have a club, or maybe you want to start one and not sure where to go. We're gonna run you through the entire process. GoKU started out pretty small. It started out as mostly like a card game, traditional board game focused club. We now have grown into fighting. We have a fighting game section. We have like casual, like music games like Rock Band and Guitar Hero. We have a huge influx of PC players right now. We got like an Overwatch team, a League of Legends team. It didn't start that way. We started just as a small little dinky club in the basement of our main one of our main academic buildings. Starting a club can seem like a really intimidating process. It is way easier. All you have to do is talk to people, and I know for some that is incredibly difficult. It's difficult for me. I'm shaking right now. I don't like talking to people, but I love all of you. I promise. Starting a club is going to involve talking to a lot of people, getting involved. It's so much more than just playing video games. You got to scope out what people are interested in. You got to talk and find out what people want to see. You'd be surprised at how many people are interested in video games that you would have no idea if you never talked to them. So, step one is talking to the big boys, your university. So, talking to a university can be interesting because obviously the university is going to have its own interests in mind, and they want to make sure that everything that they are starting, be it a club, an event, anything like that, is mutually beneficial. So the more planning you put into making sure that you have all the ideas covered when you go to talk to your university, the more willing they're going to be to work with you. You want to have a schedule in mind. When do you want to meet? You want to have a location in mind. What are you thinking of for room size? How is this going to benefit the university? What events can you do to help draw attention, draw people to the university? How they might be able to make money out of charity events or even stuff that funds directly the university. They're going to care about their interests, and you have to work with them to cater to your interests. And the number one way of doing that is showing them that people are interested. If you have to go and get a petition started, do that. Get a bunch of names. Have a bunch of people email. The more people you rally behind your cause, the more likely the university is going to be like, hey, this seems like it might be a good idea. So, as I mentioned before, you're going to want to pick a meeting place. This is the room in Kutztown that we currently hold our meeting places. You will not get this at the start. This took 7 years to get. And for next semester, we only get it 3 times. We have to fight to get this room every semester. But we started in the same building, but in a basement. I want to say the room was probably a quarter of the size. Yeah. It was tiny. It was hard to find. It was a maze. But it was home. And it was a place where once a week on Wednesday, people can go and just completely de-stress and play video games and have fun with their friends. But we didn't settle, and that's a huge thing. Is you never want to sort of settle. Always be looking for that higher goal. Like, okay, what's the next biggest room that we could theoretically afford to get? Like, hey, talk to the university. Like, we want to try to register this room out because we think we're going to have more people. It'll take some time, but if you work with your university, eventually they will start to give back once they see that you are actually a legitimate organization. The room that you choose is much more than just a physical location. It's also a sort of a safe space, a place where people can go and sort of like be free from the worries of their college classes. You have to sort of think about the location that you're in with the greater good in mind, and cultivating the location not just as a place, but also like the people are there and the attitude that is there. A huge thing about this is, and probably one of the most important tips I can give, is try to avoid unintentional gatekeeping. Unintentional gatekeeping comes about when maybe your gaming club for the time being is currently like a core group of friends. You've got maybe like 20 sort of loosely close friends that all play roughly the same games, and they all come to the club. And maybe some sort of people that you wouldn't necessarily be personal friends with start coming to the club. It can be really easy to sort of not necessarily push them away, but kind of have an environment set that makes them less likely to want to come. This is horrible for the club. Because the more people that you sort of encourage to not come to the club, the more likely it is that you're never going to get to the club. You're not going to like every single person that comes to the club. That's fine. You're also not going to hate everyone that comes to the club. You're probably going to find that you can come across people that have mutual interests that you would have never expected because their personality is different from you. So you've got to make sure that you are really open with who you're allowing into your club and being really just nice to everyone, making sure that everyone feels like they have something to do, even if it's something that you haven't initially accommodated for. Be like, come back next week. You want to play this and we don't have here, we will have it next week. Make people want to come back, because numbers mean everything, especially from the perspective of a university. Absolutely.
So I think the easiest way to avoid the gatekeeping is always have, if you have a table full of Magic the Gathering players, so say this table is full of Magic the Gathering, you always want to have an extra space or an extra few chairs that are open, so that if someone's interested or someone's new, they can just come and sit down and play, and they don't have to worry about like, hey, is this chair open? Can I sit and watch? Because it's really hard for new people in a club. It's really daunting to go up to a bunch of people you don't know who are playing a game and ask for space, because you feel like you're annoying. So try to always have an open space at those tables.
Absolutely. Like we have a very big Smash scene, and so we try to have a bunch of spare GameCube controllers, hand them out to people who are sitting around. You have a question?
Have you had problems with groups not wanting to be part of the big group? So, for example, we've had League of Legends and D&D and Magic the Gathering and other groups, Pokemon and stuff like that, and they don't want to form under one umbrella, and so they stay as a loose conglomeration, which means none of them get to a large size, so a lot of the resource issues come and go with that. Do you have any problems with that, or were you lucked out and they're like, hey, you guys have a group, can we form under your all's group sort of thing?
Yeah, so we have a number of games that are played, and there are some games that are more open, per se, like Rock Band. Our Rock Band setup is it's probably the most open out of everything there. So, I mean, there are groups that are more closed off, but being in the same room at the same time as them kind of makes it feel more like a big family instead of that. Are they meeting in the same place?
No, they literally, so I'm actually the advisor for all the different groups, and I've even talked to them and said, hey, do you want to form under this group?
Yeah.
And they're like, no. We want to make our own standalone club and be separate. I'm assuming that you guys lucked out and did not have that. You sort of had like, hey, if we make space, they'll come and fill that space in there with us.
I think a huge thing with that is that if they are sort of being not sort of willing to combine, at the very least what you can try to do is reach out to collaborate. Like, sort of give them the space to be like, you can be your own separate thing, but why don't we work together on, say, a single event? Because that will bring two groups that usually are sort of separate from one another together for at the very least one time. And if you get enough of those collaborations going, people can start to see sort of the benefit of grouping up, and people will notice like how much more of a presence they have when they're together. Some people are stubborn. It's just the case of the world. But I think like trying to encourage collaborations and trying to encourage meeting up, even if it isn't like like trying to be a permanent thing, just an occasional thing. That occasional thing might become more than just occasional. It might become semi-regular, and then they might actually be willing to be like, all right, well, we enjoy working with you guys. Maybe we'll join hands. It is something that just may take time, and also like the inflow and outflow of seniors graduating and new students coming in will always make that difficult with new crowds. But yeah, that is definitely something that can be. I hope that answers your question.
Question, is this picture of one of your events?
No, this is actually the career fair that happens in the room, but we don't have like an overview look.
Right.
What's going on in all those tables?
Yeah, this was simply the best picture of the whole room that we could find. Yeah. All right, so a hugely important thing, again, when you're talking to your university, especially about your meeting room, is being prepared. Have a room layout. So this is a basic example of a room layout. We have tables, we have chairs. Those are power outlets. You want to make sure that your room has power outlets.
And Ethernet.
And Ethernet ports.
Very important.
Showing your university that you have prepared, you put a lot of thought into how the room wants to look, will again make the university way more willing to work with it. We have the university set up our room for us before we get there, because it saves one step in the setup because they can just get that done. It just helps smooth everything along. It helps increase our relationship with that part of the university. All right. E-board. So a huge part of working with your club are the people who are actually going to be in charge of it. So I'm not sure how other colleges work. At our college, every club has to have 4 core positions. It would be president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary. President obviously is the showrunner, in charge of most things. Vice president, second-hand man. A lot of the times, especially for our club, president, vice president will do most of the same kinds of work. It's just who does what comes down to specifics. Treasurer, you want someone keeping good charge of your money. I recommend a business major. And then your secretary. Secretary is a surprisingly important job. During your e-board meetings, if you have a good e-board, people will be spitting out ideas left and right, how to improve the club, what events should be taking place, tournaments to be having. Secretary is the person that's going to be writing that all down, so when you go, oh man, what was that idea that I had like 20 minutes ago, I can't remember. I got it, fam. It's right here. Definitely have someone who can write fast. So yeah, those are the core positions. There are more positions that we highly recommend for a gamers club. We will get into that a little bit later.
Executive board or e-board is executive board, in case you're curious. And it could have different names at different universities.
Yeah, just the board of the students that are in charge of the club. In addition to the e-board, got your advisor. We have a lovely example of one here. Wait, did I not?
Next slide.
There we go. Advisor. So, an advisor is a hugely important thing to choose because the advisor is a professor on campus, and that is your direct line to the higher-ups of the university. Your advisor is the person that's going to be representing your club to the rest of the university. This is Jason. He's our advisor. He's a sociology professor. He's a huge nerd. He has a massive game collection. I haven't been to his house. It's awesome.
This whole basement is filled with like 4 games, card games, like every console.
He could have a booth.
He's like goals.
Every university will have a big nerd.
Every single one.
You'll find it if you look hard.
Yeah, if you scope it out, you find an advisor that sort of works with you. Get a good relationship going with your advisors. Keep good tabs on your professors. You never know who is has 1,000 hours in an MMO or just you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, because when it comes down to it, we're just kids. So when we're like, yeah, we want an increase of our budget of a couple $100 so that we can get this new console for our games, it's a lot easier on the university's ears to hear this from an adult, like, you should give these kids this money so that they can buy this video game thing, than it is from these kids saying, Dad let me play them on the Xbox. Talk around, make sure that your advisor has similar interests with you guys. You never know when, like you don't want to have an advisor that's super friendly, but then like, we're thinking of doing this for the club, and he's like, no. So get in conversations with your professors, see, like, scope out who would be good to talk to, and professors will help you, direct you on where to go if you're lost. All right, advertising. This is going to be huge because you want people to come to your club. Word of mouth is by far and away probably the most successful way of getting it around, but sometimes the circles can be kind of closed looped. And so most universities will allow you to make posters. And for the most part, if you keep it under a certain number of posters, it might not even cost you anything. So this is an example of one of the posters we recently had. We've been working with the university for a couple of years now. We have started running a convention at our college called KutzCon. We get every nerdy club together and we take over one of the academic buildings for a whole day and basically run a little mini Comic-Con or TMG or whatever you want to call it. And it's posters like these that catch the eye of people that maybe would otherwise never think of it. A huge important thing about posters is you want to appeal to kind of the lowest common denominator. We got a Marvel movie, we got GoKU up there, we got Star Wars, like,
Pander.
yeah, you want to pander to the mainstream because that's the thing that people think, I recognize that, I kind of like that, there's an event about that, maybe I'll go. And then, big information about where it is. Like, don't be afraid to just go up and ask a university, how do I advertise for my club? Get the word out. I can't tell you how many times I've had people come up like, I had no idea, I'm a senior in this college, I had no idea you guys existed, and then I saw your poster, like there's a game club here, you'd be surprised at, like, even with, 100 plus members, how many people just haven't heard of us. So advertising is definitely hugely important. All right, that's enough out of me. Caleb, because the laptop thing, we're going to do some shuffling. Caleb's going to talk to you about how to improve your club once you get started.
Okay. Like I said before,
Sorry.
I'm being a good adult.
like I said, I've been on club for 3.5 years out of the 4 years I have been at school, so I've seen ups and downs of the entire club. And it can be kind of crazy. Like we had like one time where like Smash overtook the club and everyone just started leaving.
That was dark times.
It was.
Smash
And like
kills
ever
first.
since then we've been starting to like build back up. We're like, we don't just have Smash, like come back, we're good, please.
We're not just Smash.
Hold on, we have a question about that. If you could try to hold the question, that'd be great.
Oh, we do have a
But-
Q&A section.
Yeah, we'll have a Q&A at the end.
So it really is important to like really balance out like, oh, this idea didn't work, but maybe we can try again like in the future where you think it, or just this didn't work, this cannot work. Even though like some hard-headed people are really trying to push that again, it happens. And you have to really explain to them saying, hey, this didn't work, this is why.
Don't be afraid to be mean to people if it's constructive.
And one of the biggest things that we try to do is build a calendar. We try to do it by semester, or at least a few weeks ahead if we can't do the whole semester. And we try to have things like fight night, race night, Mario night, Pokemon night. Like we try to have
Themes.
Yeah.
Make them broader themes so that you can fit more games into every.
And we usually have like 1 or 2 tournaments for that game and just have like other games that we're not running during those weeks as well.
Take a quick lap, all right?
To really get people excited.
Temptation's growing around back.
Okay, just done.
Okay, sorry. Yeah,
Don't worry.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. All right.
But that's like really important because it really gets, when you have announcements, you really have like, we really say, oh, we have this announcement, we get excited, which we really try to do. And some people do come to us and ask us for like suggestions like, hey, I'm really into this game, can we see if we can try to tournament it, and we try to see if we can and really build it in. It's really important, like, oh, we're not thinking of that game, but if there's enough interest, we're gonna do that game, even though we're not interested in it at all. But it's important to like not try to do it everything on the spot, but really try to think ahead. Otherwise you get really disorganized, nobody knows what's going on anymore. Nobody knows what equipment to bring each week.
Just one last thing. Like, I had a couple of situations where like people will be like, well, this is my first time here. I notice you don't have this game, and if you have a schedule plan, you can be like, well, actually, we have that planned for this time and it helps people encourage them to come back. Keeping members.
Third thing, this is a big one I know, is using your budget. Our college, we kind of have to fight a little bit to get a budget, like a really big budget to actually buy things. Because we have to have like a budget request and really make our club look good. Like we have to do charity events, see how many members we have, and really see value. Like we usually see our budget going downhill. We're like, oh, we have enough members. You guys should be getting money by yourselves. And we're like, nope. So using your budget, like we usually try to think at the beginning of the semester, like, hey, we have this much money. What do we need versus what do we want? And sometimes we really want something, but we can't get it this semester.
Nintendo Switch.
But we've gotten like smaller things, like an Ethernet splitter, controllers that people go missing sometimes, and everything like that. Smaller stuff that you will need versus what you want when you want big thing.
It's definitely a use it or lose it kind of situation. If you're not using all of your budget, then your university doesn't think you need it. So if you make sure that you use it all up, then your university will be like, okay, I guess we have to keep giving them that much.
Collaboration.
I mentioned this briefly.
Yeah. We do try to have collaborations with other clubs as well. We've collabed with fraternities, sororities for charity events. We've also done collaborations with Anime Club, which is a really big one. Like during our club, we'll have like anime themed games, and then during the anime meeting, they'll stream either a show that's based around gaming or like a movie or something, and we'll try to like really play off of each other to really get each other to like join in. Because like even though we're two separate things, there's a layover, and I think that's really important to do. Is really just look for collaborations with other clubs. Because like so we've done QuizCon, which we've had like 7 clubs in. I feel like it.
I think it is.
And some of those you wouldn't think we've collabed with, like Renaissance Club, Fencing Club, Anime Club, like the Acting Club. Like all of those, like you wouldn't think would be willing to work with things. So if we work with them, they'll work with you. And it's really great because it builds up the community in both clubs, and that's like a win-win situation. Same niche. We might not want all just like live streaming games right now. Like we might want to put some indie games or just smaller games in there.
It's okay to pander. Like if you want to have like a Fortnite tournament, go ahead. But make sure that you're also staying niche. It's important.
Because it's better to have variety than just have like 2 games and people be like, oh, well, I don't really see anything I'm interested in. And one thing that we try to encourage is, oh, if you don't see this game, bring it. Like, we might not own it ourselves, and we might not have the budget to buy it, but if you have it and willing to share it, bring it. It's great. Some people might not even heard that game, and a lot of people will go around tables and be like, oh, what's this? Can I join in? Or can I watch? Or something. That's really important. For tournaments, like I said, we try to have tournaments like every single week. They're not really stressed out tournaments. We do have a really big thing during the semester. We collab with a club called ACE, which is like a national company, and they give us a budget, like we always give us a budget to buy prizes for the tournaments that we try to do, which is really great. Like that's when we're able to like give out a Switch.
We get like
They give us $1,000.
and we get to just spend it on prizes that we get to give back to people and let them know, like, hey,
like come play video games, you might win a TV or a Switch or some controllers or something.
Yeah. And for them, we usually we try to have variety, like during that event, we have Smash, we usually have Rocket League, or we always have Dutch Blitz to give people who aren't into a card game that they can really get into and not have to worry about battling with everyone on a controller that they're not sure about.
Sorry.
And I think that's really important, is like not just have video games all the time. Like sometimes people just want a relaxing night of just playing like puzzle games. Like we've had Jenga tournaments that can get pretty intense.
Jenga tournaments are more stressful than any battle royale that's been on.
And then we also have like battleship tournaments, which is just like really cool. Like there's only like a few people who sign up, but people who sign up still get really excited to do it. And they'll try to like sign up with their friends, like I'm gonna battle with you right now. Not always just
More on the musical chairs. Okay, so you want to make sure that between years when you're changing your keyboard, it's important to keep everything organized. And you want to pass the torch pretty easily so that there's not a big shake-up in the club. So staying organized and taking notes during your meetings is really important for the future of the meeting. So this first starts with an election process. Our school requires only those 4 positions: president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. They only require those, but we have added a few because our club is so large to keep the work divided evenly. So here are the positions that we've added. Equipment manager, pretty self-explanatory. This person's going to be in charge of controllers, consoles that the club owns, even consoles that are brought by people to play. You need to keep an eye on those so they're not stolen. If we also need chairs or tables in our room during club, they'll be the one who go and get those. Next we have parliamentarian, which is someone who's a friendly face, someone who will be at the front door greeting people and showing them if they're new, where to go. Here's the table for this, here's the table for this, this is GoKU, etc. Historian, this person's job is probably the lightest. They're going to be taking pictures of the club to pretty much show the university. We put them on social media. It's to show like a nice, thriving community, somewhere that's safe, a bunch of smiling faces playing games. The university will like that quite a bit. Then we have webmaster. This person is mainly on our Facebook page. We will be making event pages. Oh, next week is Racer Night. We're going to have a Mario Kart tournament. Come on out and play Mario Kart with friends. Simple stuff like that. They'll also be in charge of like our Instagram and any other social media that we have. So your historian and your webmaster can kind of work together to advertise for your club on the internet. And lastly, we have charity head. We just added this one last year, I think. This person is in charge of like maybe like one or like a few charity events every year. It doesn't have to be every week. You can just like once or twice a semester. You can have a Smash tournament where the entry is like 2 cans of soup. That's what we did last year, and it went pretty well. So you can also directly benefit people of your club if they're on financial aid and they actually don't have a lot of money for stuff. You could be directly helping those people who need to go to food shelters and things like that. Next up, so this is how we do nominations. This is how our school does it. Your school can probably do it in a bunch of different ways. But in the last 4 weeks of the semester, the last week of the semester, which is our finals week, we can't hold club because this university wants students studying. We hold an unofficial meeting that we call Game Therapy Day. It's basically the same exact process as holding a regular club day. But those 3 weeks beforehand, we will do nominations and elections. So those 3 weeks, when we have announcements during club, we will announce that if there's any nominations that wish to be had. So let's say we're doing announcements right now, and I think Justin would be a great equipment manager. So I'm going to say, I nominate Justin to be equipment manager. I accept. And he can accept or deny that. If he doesn't want to be equipment manager, he has to change my mind. Okay, he's declining. That's okay. We're allowed to do that. So after those 3 weeks, the third week, during announcements, we will do nominations once more. We do nominations once more. And then we fill ballots. And then a new e-board is chosen.
Yeah. One good thing about the nomination process is that there's a lot of people that sort of would participate but don't really necessarily have the motivation to sort of take that step. And so there's definitely been a couple situations where if you say like, I think my friend was good with the keyboard, I'm going to nominate them for this position, that can be all it takes for someone to go, I think I can do that.
Yeah, that's what happened with me.
Yeah.
Jacob over here nominated me for equipment manager, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, and here I am now. So thank you, Jacob.
Well, yeah, it's important to like sort of encourage your members that like keyboard isn't difficult.
It's not hard.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Okay, so after you pick a new e-board, that last week, that fourth week, where we don't hold an official club, we'll be holding a transition meeting, illustrated by this wonderful GIF from Battlefield. So this is the game therapy day that we were talking about. Essentially, we will meet beforehand and have both of the e-boards, or whoever is new and old on the e-board, meet and talk and go over what needs to be done, how to do your job. That's probably the most important part. And other little things like where the equipment is, how to do this and that. It's important that you don't just throw your new e-board onto the street and just say, okay, here's a club, go. You need to let them learn. So now this is our normal functionality. So this is what a normal day. We meet on Wednesdays from 7 p.m. to 11. So it's a pretty good chunk of time to just hang out and play some games. So this is what a normal Wednesday night looks like for us. So at 6 p.m. we'll have an e-board meeting. We have a room in the upper portion of the building that you saw us meeting in earlier, where we sit in this nice like business table. It's really official. There's just a bunch of nerds sitting around. So we sit and we talk about what's going on for this week, what we want going on for the next week, charity events, if any e-board members have any ideas they'd like to bring up. It's an open forum for discussion about the club, for the club, and by the club. Look at that. Okay, I did. So this goes from about 6 p.m. to 6:30. We usually only need about 30 minutes. So the next 30 minutes are for setup. So this is a better picture of the room.
Yeah.
We'll set up all these TVs. The tables and chairs are provided by the university, and they're very kindly set up by them, so we don't have to worry about that. So we set up these TVs. We do carry this CRT up and down the flight of stairs every day that we have club.
It's a nightmare.
But it's okay. So it's not a lot of equipment, but it's good for everyone on the e-board to be participating in setting this up so that it can get done quickly, so that when people come in at 7, they have games to play. So club starts about 7, 7:30. So we let people filter in for 30 minutes, and then at 7:30, all the e-board stands up from whatever they were doing, and they go to the front and we talk. We say, "Hey GoKU, it's Wednesday again, my dudes," and we announce everything that we basically talked about. Not everything. We announce a lot of the things we were talking about in our meeting. What is happening tonight? Here's a tournament. It's over there. What's happening next week? It's going to be a tournament for this game, or it's going to be this night. Yeah, upcoming events, upcoming charity events, stuff like that. So just everyone stays informed. It's important to let everyone know what's going on. So after that is just open gaming or whatever tournaments are going on. So this is our rock band set up here. Some very enthusiastic rock band players. So this goes from about 7:30 to 10:45. And when 10:45 hits, we usually start to cool it down and take down and start to unplug things and stop playing the game. During this gaming time, you need to make sure that someone for at least a few hours, mainly a parliamentarian, is standing at the front door making sure that people know where to go if they're new and they sign in and stuff. So, And then we have takedown, which is the last portion, which is where we just unplug everything, get all the equipment, and very important to make sure that the room looks nicer than when you walked in. So if there was something on the ground that was in there already when you walked in, some trash, pick it up and throw it out. Your university will really like you for that, and the staff in our building like it when we help them out setting up. So that's a normal day. This happens 10:45 to 11, and then we're out of the building. Behind closed doors, this happens. No. Okay, so that concludes the presentation portion.
I have actually one thing to add.
Justin's got something to add?
The one thing that I forgot to mention, put in the notes, sort of a mix of the gatekeeping comment that I mentioned before and also the e-board. It's very likely to happen that the people that are in charge of the club will end up working in the same friend group. If you start to notice that it's happening, try to get someone that's outside of your core friend group into the e-board, because a lot of the times having all of those people in charge of the club with the same interest can make it feel like there's sort of a barrier for entry. Like if I'm not friends with them, then I won't be able to be on your board. Showing that there are people sort of with different groups on your e-board will show that it's not sort of like part of this elite club of like people that have known each other for years. It makes the whole club seem a lot more fun.
Okay, are there any questions? I know we had a question back there. If you can remember it, that's amazing. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. How did you guys react when Smash Ultimate was revealed?
Excitement.
Yeah, I was excited. You mean
Was it?
personally or
Isn't Darkness coming back? The Dark Times?
So
We're hoping it doesn't, like, we try our best
Hello,
to stop it.
a lot
Stop it
of
from happening.
Yeah, a lot of actually that situation was because of we were sort of getting into a situation where a lot of the people that were on e-board were part of the group of people that played Smash, so Club sort of became Smash Club. And it wasn't until we got a new fresh e-board that wasn't as interested that it sort of started to dissipate and we actually got put more interest back into other clubs. So with Smash Ultimate being announced, obviously everyone kind of gets a twinge of but like a scared cat. But as long as the club e-board and the club members are sort of willing to have other things happen at club than just one game, then nothing like that should necessarily be a problem.
Yeah, right, that's Smash happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, also I can confirm that Smash is like a infection. It comes in, like it looks okay, it's like, hey, everyone's playing, everyone's having fun, and then bam, you better just change the banner now. Because it's like, that's, like the moment you try and dislodge that thing.
Yeah. So keeping a competitive Smash community is good, because people will return to club every week and they'll play. It's also good to have a casual, we should do this more, and I'm going to do this more, is have a casual Smash setup, so that people like me who are garbage at that game, you come out and play with their friends and mess around, and, you know, so they feel you can leave the competitive people to do their thing if you want.
They're going to do it either way.
Just make sure that they know that they should be accepting people if they want to come play.
Like, yeah.
Oh, and what about tutorials and whatnot? Because like, I think one of the big reasons why Smash grew so large in like at least my gaming club is because it's easy to understand, like pick up and play. But it's like there was a vehement hatred towards other fighting games because it's like, oh, I need to learn a combo, and it's just like how do you handle like games where it's like you have to play the tutorial to be able to understand the game? But it's really fun to do that.
Yeah. On the beginning of the semester, we try to have an open gaming to really not have any tournaments, just have games open to everyone to really like get people into things. And usually when we have a tournament for something, we set it up like right away and try to get like, hey, are you looking at this? Like I can show you how to play if you're interested. We try to show people beforehand, just like pull them out. Like if they're curious, we push them into it. Like do it.
Yeah, like the one of the minor rules of all of the e-board is sort of to be the person that's encouraging other people. Like there's a lot of people, you can tell who wants to play a game by who's hanging around and watching the screen. And sometimes it just takes putting a controller in your hand and saying, hey, I'm garbage at this game, can I teach you?
You'll see a lot of, especially like the first day of the semester when you have your first day, you'll see a lot of this. So if he's playing a game, you'll see just a lot of people just kind of like. Encourage those people that are standing and watching or just kind of lurking to actually play the game.
Encourage your members to give up the controller.
Yeah. You're back.
From the outside, trying to find the tiny basement room where people apparently play games, how can I find out about clubs that are already going to be in the college I'm interested in?
Okay, so if you email your university, we have a student involvement office, which is like people that sit all day at a computer and are only involved with budgeting and only clubs, student clubs. So if you go to their office or if you email them and say, hey, do you have a games club or like an esports club or something like that, they'll know for you and they'll give you any information that you want.
So I am the vice president of the gaming club at Stevens Institute of Technology, which is about your size. So yeah, we're pretty big. We run a similar thing to you do, and we're kind of been floating an idea around of doing like a joint Overwatch event in a couple of colleges. So I'm gonna have a question. Like, if you wanna kind of talk afterwards, or like maybe.
Yeah, you can find me after.
Actually, I just thought of one other thing. Another important thing, the president of the club doesn't necessarily have to be the best gamer at your university. In fact, oftentimes, we'll find that we have some of our biggest periods of growth when our presidents are not necessarily the hugest gamers themselves, they just love the gaming community. Some of the best growth we had was a president by the name of Bryn, and she just loved gamers, she loved people, and so she would go around and try to just get people involved. And she herself was mostly a casual gamer. I'm not sure what was her shtick for the most part, but I think she was, I don't know, which can be casual and sometimes very much not so. But just she, like, as a president, was very focused on getting people to come, no matter who they were, no matter what their interest was. So have your president be someone who isn't afraid to talk to people. Any other questions?
When you first started a small group, have you ever faced any instances where like you guys received backlash or discrimination against like other students because like you reserve the spot, but they don't respect that? Like
that happens a lot now. Still, like we'll have a room set up, and other like we've had like. We got kicked out because of a spelling bee, because of a sorority spelling bee. And they're like, oh, we want this room more than you. You should get out. And it still happens, and you kind of just have to flow with it. We're like, okay, we'll work with you. Like, we'll see like your reasoning, and if we try to work with them, but sometimes we kind of just get kicked out. And sometimes we'll find out the week of that we're kicked out of the room. Like, they just sometimes don't tell us. And we kind of just go with that. We post around everywhere saying, hey, we're in this room again. Sorry, we just found out ourselves. And we'll try to work our way around it. We kind of just like to go with the flow. And it still happens even though we're so big.
Yeah, if you feel like you're being treated unfairly by your university, you can definitely go and speak to them. And if you bring the conversation to them and email someone and say, hey, I'm from the Games Club, I feel like we're being treated unfairly. We have a lot of members with a lot of interest. Even if you're small, right, you can just claim, oh, we have people that are really interested. That's great. But if you bring the conversation to them and tell the university, they can help you figure this out. But they want their clubs to grow, for sure. So you talk to the university.
Be stubborn. Never give up. You're going to get pushed around a lot, just push back. Over here.
Okay, so our university is small, and our club is basically starting new. We just started like what, 2 years ago, and we're struggling with advertising. We're just in a whole mess right now. So we did this. We were involved in the involvement fair, and we were kind of confused on advertising. Like I tried to make sure like our table was very presentable. Like I put the games that we play on the top and displayed. I made a nice poster with like Mario and saying like the video game club and like pixelated letters. And I even put like video game music and not many people like signed up. Like I don't know, like we're very like we were trying to like have them approach us. We were like, oh, you want to join and stuff. We're just not good with advertising or promoting.
For our involvement fair, we usually have like a trifold showing like we have Magic the Gathering, Smash, but we also have here's the board games that we mostly have. Here's the card games we mostly have. We really try to be broad with it, and we also have business cards. Like if somebody doesn't sign up on like paper or something, or they'll be like, oh, I'm interested, but they'll completely forget about it days later.
Yeah,
we'll hand out business cards, be like, come to this. And that really helps out.
If you don't have a successful involvement fair, don't be discouraged. Advertising is something that can take place throughout the whole semester. If you have to draw up your own posters, because you'll find your community. Just as long as, like I said, just keep being stubborn.
Your advisor, how active with the group is?
Is there every Wednesday?
Yeah.
Every week, mostly playing Magic. He's like a big Magic player.
I was curious about that, yeah, because I try to be fairly active with the group come in, and that's, from the advisor standpoint, it's not just someone that's interested, but has time to be with the group.
Right.
Yeah, because that makes a huge difference.
100%. Definitely make sure that your advisor can attend those club meetings. When you say, I want to have my club meeting at this time, if they say, well, I can help your club, but I can't be there, then they may not be necessarily the right choice.
Yeah. You shouldn't find an advisor that is there just because he has to. You need to find one that is there because he wants to. When he wants to, he wants to be around.
I actually just wanted to say something to the advertisements for that. I actually go to the school. They, not only that, like not even just for the job or whatever involvement fair, they have posters like literally everywhere. Like we have places that you can just post, like they're like little bulletin boards, you can just post and like stuff there that are on like, that's usually like where people live, like on the campus side. But then they also just have them all over like actual academic buildings and stuff like that. Like you'll just see it in like windows and stuff. Like,
But that's what we did, but the area that we advertised, that's when we mentioned that like people, I guess, felt some type of way about our club because that was their area that they used to be at, and they would try to like backlash at us and write bad things on flyers, and that involved security, and it was just a mess. And that's what I think that leads people away to our club because of all that drama.
One thing you can probably try as well, we try doing this. Our university usually has like class of pages on Facebook. Even if we're not part of that class, we kind of just like sneak into there and post, advertise on there.
The class of like 2016,
Yeah,
2017.
and that's like a big way because they might not even really be part of it, but they'll like see it on their news feed and be like, oh, maybe I can go.
Obviously, that is a difficult situation to be dealing with. And like we said, like that is something that your university hopefully will be able to help with.
We have time for one more quick question, if anyone has one. Okay.
Well, thank you so much for coming to our